Fashion Dolls. We are back. It is season 17. We are in 2023. We have officially made it. This is our season 17 premiere Fashion Dolls. And joining me today, we have actor, producer, and pianist Shawn Carter Peterson. Now, you might know him because he's married to a certain. Hi, Timothy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, you guys. I hope you guys all are doing awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our season 17 premiere Fashion Dolls. So, without further ado, make sure you guys share this live. Let everyone know that we are back. Now, before we kick off this interview, 2023 has kind of gotten off to a crazy start, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it. We lost two of the world's most incredible entertainment icons, from the group 3 6 Mafia and also Barbara Walters. My condolences and my heart goes to their family. This is, you would think going into the new year would be a little bit more easy, but it's been challenging. It's been very, very challenging to find out that those two people passed away. So my heart goes to their families, all the love, all the sincerity, and so much more. So without further ado, Fashion Dolls, let's welcome our incredibly talented special guest, Mr. Shawn Carter Peterson, to the Dollhouse. Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you. Can you see and hear me?
Yes, I sure can. Welcome to the Dollhouse, Shawn.
Thanks for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you here, kicking off the season 17 premiere. Now, before we get into this interview, how has your New Year's and your holidays been so far?
They were very good, very restful, I can say. It was a hectic year, and so we had some time to just kind of sit back and sit around and cook food and eat food and watch movies and watch, catch up on stuff that you haven't seen. And yeah, it's been really, really good. It's nice. I wish we had another week.
Yeah. All right, so let's get right into it.
Okay.
Now, you're born in Baltimore, Maryland. Tell us a little bit about that.
Born and raised in Baltimore, raised with my dad and my grandparents in an area of the city called Cherry Hill, which is a historically black neighborhood, kind of separated from most of the city because it is a hill and it's surrounded by water on about three sides or two, three, yeah, two and a half sides. So we had our own little community that had been thriving since I think it was built in the 40s when my grandparents first moved there. And so we had a very, very close-knit community of people that have known each other for years and years and years. And so it was a great place to grow up. Um, and I went to St. Veronica's Catholic Church there. So I was an altar boy. I used to be a lector in mass and went to Sunday school and did all of that. So raised in the church. And yeah, Baltimore was a great place for me to grow up. It really, really was. A lot of the stuff that you hear about Baltimore being so horrible and bad
Yeah.
and lots of that stuff is true. There are, difficult parts of every city. In Baltimore, we had the highest teenage pregnancy rate when I was in high school, because I guess we were kind of busy. But I mean, I love my city and I love growing up there. So I have nothing but good things to say.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, the show The Wire was also taped there as well too. And I've interviewed some of the cast from that show. It's a phenomenal show.
Mhm.
They used to come on HBO. So God, now we're in a day and age of reboots and so many things. You've Speaking of shows, you also were on CBS's How I Met Your Mother, which is one of my favorite shows. And I wish they would bring it back, revive it, all of that, and so much more. We're now in the day and age of reboots. But before we can get to that, let's get into from Nassau College with a dual degree in drama and Africana studies. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. After high school, I went to Vassar College, and I was going to be a music major because I'm a classical pianist. I started playing piano at the age of 4, studied all through elementary school, middle school, high school, and thought I wanted to continue and be a concert pianist. And then when I got to college, I'd done lots of plays and stuff in middle school and high school, and I always knew I wanted to be an actor too. And I kind of felt like I had to make a choice. I don't know that that's really, really true, but that's what I felt at the time. And so I decided to really go hard in theater and study Shakespeare, study lots of the greats, August Wilson, and really, really kind of learn my craft. You know,
Yeah.
and I wanted to also study Black culture. So that's why I started to also do Africana studies, because it was a concentration on arts and literature in the Black diaspora. So America, the Caribbean, Africa, anywhere where Black people, spread to. I was able to kind of get my feet wet, study that too, which I still kind of study in my everyday life. It's kind of like how I roll through life, trying to see things through a Black lens, through an African lens, through that kind of perspective. Which is, I think it's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that people are studying more about Africa and about the diaspora. I'm
Yes.
glad to see stories kind of coming out that, you know, lies that we were told many years ago, such as, Africans didn't have any sort of written language. And we're finding out actually some of them did, lots of them did. It's just that the Europeans couldn't decipher them, so they kind of negated their existence, you know. So I studied Africana studies, and I studied theater while I was there. I also went to Morehouse for a semester on my junior year, and I studied theater down there. So I met some of my closest friends that I've had now while I was at Morehouse in Spelman for a semester. So yeah, I wanted to know what I was doing, so I decided to study and kind of find out what the real deal was. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Now, let's fast forward because you and I both know, and I know you're married to the beautiful neo soul songstress, Cy Smith. And I was just listening to her album, Fast and Curious. That's one of my favorite projects that she's worked on.
Oh,
Now, before we get to that, you also were on some hit shows as well too. NCIS New Orleans, How I Met Your Mother, and you also did Pitch Perfect 2, which is one of my favorite, favorite movies, favorite projects. FYI, for those of you who do not know, the number one opening weekend box office in the US and the UK was grossing more than $264 million worldwide. Now, getting the call to be on How I Met Your Mother before we get to all the other stuff, what was it like getting to be casted on that show? Because it's such a funny show, and like I said, I wish they would bring it back.
you know, it was funny because, well, not funny. It was fun because it was one of the first shows that I did when I moved out to California, and we actually, I filmed that episode, How I Met Your Mother, on my birthday. Sometimes it's really, really nice to work on your birthday. I'm one of those people. I don't need the day off. I actually kind of would rather be at work.
Right.
And I got the call that I was going to do it, and it was a hit show. So I was just excited to be joining the cast of a number one show. It was number one at the time. And so I went to work, and I kept it to myself, which in hindsight, I would totally tell everybody. But because it was one of my first shows, I was like, let me just get in here and let me just be quiet and do what I'm supposed to do, and just kind of try to be funny when I can, or do what they hired me to do, which was kind of be funny. I kind of get that job every once in a while. They're like, we want this guy to kind of make us giggle a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, uh, so it was a lot of fun. I got to meet Neil Patrick Harris again, who I'd met when I first moved out to California. He was doing a play called Rent at the time, and I got to meet him through a really, really good friend of mine who was like a big brother. And then so I kind of reminded him that we had met a couple of years before, and everybody was really, really sweet. And it wasn't until I left, I was about to leave, and I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, today's my birthday." And of course, everybody gave me some birthday love. It was fun. It was one of the first ones that I did, and when you're first getting started, and I'd been known for doing a lot of commercials, but I hadn't done a lot of television or film yet. So it was kind of like being confident in the commercial world, I knocked it out. I only worked a couple hours. It was great.
Absolutely. And Cy is here, ladies and gentlemen. Cy Smith, she's in the comments. I don't know if she's in here or not. Just wave, Cy, and say hello. Now we'll get to that. Now, at what age did you two both discover that it was love at first sight? Because she comes from the world of music. You're a pianist also. And it's just like opposites come together and collide, and something magical happens. So tell us, at what age did you discover with her that this was the love of my life?
We actually met at a commercial audition. She was doing a lot of commercials at the time. I was doing a lot of commercials at the time, and we met in the audition room, and we hit it off, and we exchanged numbers. We exchanged numbers, and well, she gave me her number, and I made the mistake of washing it in my jeans, so I didn't have a number on the piece of paper when I took my jeans out of the dryer. Cut to a year later, a friend of mine said that he was going to go see this group called Star 69, and she was one of the members of the group. It was 3 ladies, and he said, Cy Smith sings with this group Star 69. I'm going to go see them tonight. And I was like, yo, I'll meet you out there. Let me just go. I met her last year. Let me go see, and let me see what she's talking about. And they performed, and I was blown away. And I was like, oh, she's really good. So then I was nervous, and I didn't say anything to her that night. I kind of just laid back, like, just being a little geeky kind of young guy, just talk. You know what I mean? And cut to a night later, I ran into her at a party. She walked in to another party, literally less than 24 hours later than that time that I had seen her, and I hadn't seen her for a year before that. And I just went up to her and was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. And she was like, I remember you. You didn't call. And I was like, oops. And then I ended up buying her a drink and asking her to dinner, and we've been together ever since. It just kind of happened that way, and we started dating, and I think from the 3rd date it was just me and her.
Look at that. And you both have your showcase together, Cy and Shawn's showcase. Mm-hmm. And someone in the comments just mentioned it. Hi, Mike. He says you directed and interviewed for her Worship at the Temple DVD, which is another one of my favorites as well. So thank you, Mike, for bringing that up. Right. Along with her album Fast and the Curious, which is one of my faves from her. Like, it was in heavy rotation while I was getting my hair and makeup done for this interview. So definitely shout outs to Cy on that. Now, music, because you're also classically trained in Oxford Shakespeare as well, too. Mm-hmm. So where did this passion, you said you started playing piano at 4 years mm-hmm. old. At what age, what era did you say, okay, this is my passion. This is something that I would love to do?
I played from the age of 4. So for a long time, I didn't remember never playing. It was something that I remembered. Some of my earliest memories are playing the piano. And so once I went to college, I stopped playing piano, but I was still in music. On campus, we had a gospel choir. We had an a cappella gospel choir, and I ended up being the director of the choir on campus. So I was still doing music. I just wasn't doing classical music. And then I would work during the summers with the Children's Defense Fund. We had these schools called Freedom Schools, which were all around the country. Different schools for inner city kids to kind of get summer programs, summer work, summer school, summer fun. And I was the director of those schools in DC for 3 years. For the trainings that we would have in Tennessee, I was also the choir director for the trainings that we would have in Tennessee for about 2 weeks. And so music was always a part of my life. Even though I stopped playing piano, I never stopped being a musician. It was something that it's just in your body. It's just in your bones. I'm always listening to music. Sometimes I have days where I don't listen to anything just because I'm trying to work on something, and a lot of stimulus. Right. You know what I mean? And you're obviously an artistic person. A lot of stimulus, sometimes you need to be quiet so you can hear what's coming at you. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I won't have music on, but for the most part, music is on. I'm humming with it, even if I don't realize I'm humming with it or I'm harmonizing with it. It's just something that I do. And slowly but surely, after I hadn't been playing for a few years, even though I would still coach people for auditions, for theater, or for Broadway auditions, etc. one day I was just like, whoa, how are you not playing anymore? Like, it came to me out of the blue, like, what you doing? You know what I mean? You really like get
Right.
back to. So I did. I got back to the piano. I started playing again. We bought a piano when we got our house, and I just slowly but surely made my way back over to her, and I reached out to my piano teacher from back when I was in school, and let her know that I was playing. And oh, during the pandemic, she actually would give me lessons again. So I started taking lessons again. And I ended up I ended up entering a music competition that she had told me about, just on a fluke. She sent me this email saying there's this competition out of Jersey. You can submit music, online. It's all online. So I was like, there's one piece that I remember playing that was still in my body from the years and years of having played it. And I was like, if I can work on this, and I will submit an audition tape for this competition. I submitted the tape, but didn't think anything else about it. And lo and behold, I ended up becoming one of the winners in the adult category. And the winners competition just happened to be at Carnegie Hall. So I had to play at Carnegie Hall
That's it.
out of not having played in public for over 10 years. So that was nerve wracking, but I got it done. I did it. I called my piano teacher and told her what had happened, and she hooked me up with a woman that she knew out here so that I could go and take lessons again and work and kind of get my feet back together and get back on the boards of the stage. And so now I'm back, if you will.
All right. Now, Pitch Perfect 2, one of my favorite movies, was a 264 million box office double. And it was absolutely everything. You had Rebel Wilson, you had Anna Kendricks, Esther Dean. I mean, it was an all-star cast. Now, tell us what was it like being a part of this ensemble cast for this project, because you had the first one and then the second one was just at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm. I had seen the first one, and I liked it. I like musical films, so of course I was going to see it at some point. I went for this role for the role of Dax. It was a self tape I sent in to my agent down in Louisiana, and I didn't think anything about it. I was like, okay, cool. I just sent it off, and then I got a call that I had booked it, and I was like, oh, okay. So we had to go down to Louisiana to film it, and it was the morning that I went to work, and she said, you're going to be working with Michael Keegan. And I said, oh, okay, Michael Keegan. I know who that is. It's one of the guys from like Best in Show. Okay, that's cool. I'm kind of, I know who that is. And then I was in shock. I was completely in shock because I was like, oh, I love Key and Peele. I had no idea I was going to be working with him, and my first scene was going to be with him, and so now I'm nervous. So now I'm like, oh my god, okay. And I'm probably going to be going on set in about an hour, So I didn't have too long to overthink it, but just long enough to get nervous about it. And went to set, which was just across the little street that we were, where the trailers were, and someone comes up from the behind the scenes footage, crew, and like
Mm-hmm.
they just came straight up to me and was like, so we're gonna ask you some questions and just tell us, just answer the questions however you want to, just be yourself. And so they started talking to me, asking me questions, and then they asked me questions about as if I were the character Dax, and I was like, oh, okay, so I got to really improv this now. And Keegan came right on over and kind of like helped me out because he saw that I was like, oh, we're going like no warm up, just straight in. And so from that moment on, he became like a big brother to me on set. We volleyed, we played. He just kind of totally embraced me and made me feel really, really comfortable. And so I might have been nervous before I started, but once we got that first scene in,
It just
it
went
went
away. Mm-hmm.
like gravy. Anna was really, really sweet. So we had our scenes, me, Anna Kendrick, and Keegan. We were all working together. And then I think the next day we were shooting with Snoop Dogg. So we shot a scene, and then Snoop was coming. They were like, Snoop is coming. So then we all kind of got nervous, which was kind of funny because I'm like, y'all are the. y'all the movie stars. I'm just new to this. But we were all like, Snoop is coming. Snoop is coming. You know what I mean? So Snoop shows up. The one thing about Snoop is that Snoop's cologne game is on point. That brother walked in there and we were all like, Snoop smells really good. And Keegan said to me when he walked in, he was like, damn, man, Snoop smells really, really good. He was not stoned. He wasn't, like people will say,
Yeah.
oh, Snoop smells fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop knows what he's doing. Now, he may have smoked some weed. We couldn't tell. There was no, it wasn't like we were waiting for him in his trailer and he walked out with a bunch of smoke and all that other stuff. That wasn't the case. You know what I mean? He was a professional. He brought his family, so his kids were there. So it was like a family affair. You know what I mean? So that experience was one of the best experiences that I've had on a set so far. It was only 2 days for me, but it was a lot of fun. When I saw Keegan at the premiere, he was like a big brother. You know what I mean? Gave me a big hug and met my wife, and we just hung out. And so yeah, I have yet to have a bad experience on a set. Really, really.
Now, being in music, you and your wife both, someone brought it up in the comments, season 2 of Cy and Shawn's Showcase. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's like it showcases a variety of things on your platform with your wife. So tell us a little bit about Cy and Shawn's Showcase.
Cy and Shawn's Variety. We called it Cy and Shawn's Variety Live. It was during the pandemic. It had been a few months that we were up in the house. Cy is one of those people that she likes to take a couple weeks off, but after a couple of weeks, she's ready to get back on stage. Yeah. So after I would say we got 2 months in, and she decided she was going to put on some shows in our living room and do some live feeds, etc. And I was like, that's a great idea. We had always wanted to work together. I'd always wanted to write some stuff for each other, and I always loved variety shows. So what I proposed to her was that we do a variety show live on Facebook. I would write some sketches that we could pre-record, and then we would have some live stuff that we could do in between screening the pre-recorded videos or music videos or sketches that we had done. So that's what we did. We did 4 episodes. They ran about 35 to 45 minutes each time. We would have music videos that I had directed for her, or that someone else had directed for her. And then I did like little commercials, little things where we both played against each other. We played characters. I started off kind of doing like a film noir thing, like a nice 50s film noir in black and white. That was the first thing that came to me to do. Then we did like a Jurassic Park situation with our dogs. We went out to the park and filmed some stuff. It was kind of like a renegade shooting, but it was just the 2 of us because it was the pandemic. So I was doing all the filming and the editing, and it was fantastic. And after we did the 4 episodes, the following year, I decided to take all the episodes, chop them down into shorter episodes. And so there are about 6 episodes that on YouTube that are 18 to 19 minutes apiece that I put together. So they kind of like live as their own season of a variety show series. And, we may do another one. There's no reason not to. People seem to like what we did. So.
Yes, like someone says, we're waiting for season 2 in the comments. So, yes. But that being said, for you and Cy as a musician, and I'm pretty sure you guys are creative and just general. My question for you is, what are the essential qualities that would make a great musician for people who are looking to get into the music business? What would make a great musician, or what are some of the qualities?
Musicians are kind of always listening to things. They listen to how people talk. They listen to the cadences in people's voices. They listen to the sounds the birds make. You know what I mean? It's something that you can't really help. For anybody that wants to break into music or entertainment, I would say do your homework. Study the greats. Study the people whose music you like. Listen to what they listen to. Listen to the people that they've listened to understand, or try to understand what it is that they like. You know what I mean? And why they sing the way that they do. A lot of singers like, Whitney or Mariah. Well, Whitney and Mariah were listening to the Sarah Vaughns, the Ella Fitzgeralds, and they were listening to the women that came before them. And so there are things that are in those earlier artists that show up in artists of today. And I think that those things make you a better artist when you are versed in the people that came before you, your aunties, your uncles, the grandparents in the industry. You got to learn what came before you so that you can take it and break it down and do what you want with it. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing I would say to do, and perform. If you are a performer, I would say find an open mic somewhere. Put something out on, YouTube. Put something out on Instagram. Just get it out there. The more you perform, the better you get at it, and the more comfortable you get at it. And then you can have some dexterity, some vocal dexterity, manual dexterity, whatever your instrument is. You get better at it the more that you play at it, the more you work at it.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, if you could change anything about the industry, the business, what would that be?
If I could change anything about the industry, what would that be? Well, there have been a lot of people in the last few years that have been put on because they have lots of followers on social media.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they necessarily have the talent to sustain it. I heard Debbie Allen say something recently on the Red Table Talk. She said that some of the new talent, they can do something for 30 seconds. They can do something for 60 seconds. But can you sustain an hour-long show? Can you do an hour-long show 7 shows a week? You know what I mean? That's a muscle. You know what I mean? And so I feel like some of the work that's been put out in the last few years, they've been giving chances to people that don't necessarily have the skill set to really, really deliver 100%. I wish that wasn't the case, because there are plenty of people out there who do have the skill, who do have the talent, who do have the wherewithal to make it happen. They're just not given the opportunity because they don't have 40,000 followers or 1 million followers or what have you. TikTok minutes. Yeah, TikTok minutes. They can do a TikTok and that's it, but they can't do five consecutive minutes. They can only, grind it out for that short period of time.
Like, who was it? I was watching an interview with Coco from SWV, and you guys remember the whole story about Milli Vanilli. She was talking about how the girl group, her girl group, SWV, of course, had to really audition and sing a cappella to get their position, for the record company that they were signed for. It was RCA.
Mm-hmm.
So, know about this. I'm pretty sure you should know about this too, Shawn. Where artists literally have to go in and sing a cappella or perform a cappella for the directors and everybody that's, in charge of the record company. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. Whereas nowadays, you can put something on TikTok, you're going viral. It's a hit. It's trending, it's trending, it's trending. We're now in a day and age of social media, whereas back then, in the 90s and other eras of music, you didn't have all of this TikTok and what you have right now. Age of, the next generation. So my question for you is, and this is for the artists and the audience as well too, how do you feel about this, with social media and the current age of music?
Well, I feel like with social media, I feel like people's attention spans are so short.
Yes.
And with streaming, where you can binge something over a day, you know what I mean? You can binge an entire series in 2 days. I feel like there's something missing when you can ingest material so quickly and then it can be gone in 2 days and you've moved on to something else. That's another thing that I wish wasn't the case, but that's where we are. You know what I mean? I can't change that, but that's where we are. Gone are the days where, like, you're watching a show and you're going to be with them for a few months. You know what I mean? You're going to be with a different world for at least 3 or 4 months for a half a season and live with those characters. Those characters are going to live with you as opposed to now you can watch, a show on Netflix and in 2 days you can watch something else and they'll be gone. And that person, that experience is gone outside of your sphere. You know what I mean? It means that people have to change how they approach things. And I don't know that Yeah, people aren't connected or invested as much. And I don't know, it will change because it has to change. I don't know what that's going to mean for all of us, though, as performers. You know what I mean? I don't know how sustainable that is
Yeah.
for careers. You know what I mean? How many people can really just keep, churning out material? We'll see. Only time will tell at this point.
Longevity. That's what it's all about in this business and being able to
Mhm.
make it.
And being able to change with the times. You know what I mean? Even if I don't like it, I still got to deal with it. You know what I mean? Being mad, make it go away. So I have to adjust, and I got to figure out where's my next step, what's my next plan. And that's where the quiet silence comes into place, because sometimes when you're ingesting so much material, you can't really hear what your inner muse is telling you to do. And so I think that silence, meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it, those are all important things to making a good artist, because good artists have to listen to whatever the spirit is telling them to do.
Absolutely. All right, Fashion Dolls. On that note, we have two games that we're going to do with Shawn, and then we're going to take some audience questions for our season T premiere here. All right, Fashion Dolls. So the first one is going to be called the Rapid Five, and the next one is going to be called Voices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a list of some divas, and you give me one word to describe each singer.
Okay.
All right. So the top five, the rapid five goes like this. You have to tell us five things you can't live without. It can be your favorite food, your favorite drink, your goal, your passion, or whatever it is that you go by in daily. So what are your top five things that Shawn can't live without?
Top five things Shawn can't live without. Iced tea. I can't live
Okay.
without iced tea. Uh, uh, wow. I
I
was gonna
know
say
Side
coffee.
in the comments punching the wind right now. She's like, you better say me. Come on now.
Family, though, my family is important. You know what I mean? My wife, my puppy, my dad. You know what I mean? Family is really really important, because without them, you don't really have any support. Um, uh,
She said chicken wings.
Chicken wings. I was gonna say that. She got me. Yeah, chicken wings. I got some in the fridge that I cooked last night, as a matter of fact. Music. I can't live without music. Any kind of music. I listen to, classical, to Baltimore house, to uh, classics. You know what I mean? And what else? Is that four? That's four things? Do I got one
Yep.
more? Uh, uh, Wine. Yeah, wine. I like wine.
Yes. Definitely. And it's great for your heart too. For those of you who are interested in this, great for your heart. So okay. All right. That is Shawn's rapid five, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to go into voices, and we're going to get into some of our favorite. These women have been in the industry, and they have made vocally some of the most amazing, interesting everything. All right. So I'm going to go down a list of divas here, and you give me one word to describe each diva. Okay. So the first diva we're going to start off with is Mahalia Jackson.
Church.
Okay. The next one, Gladys Knight.
But it makes me think of Philly.
Okay. All right. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
Diva.
Okay. All right. The next one, Cy Smith.
Air.
All right. Whitney Houston.
Goat. That's really more than one word, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Patti LaBelle.
Holla.
Okay. All right. The next one is Irene Cara.
Fame.
Okay. All right. And those are our divas, ladies and gentlemen. She said, oh, yes, 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 yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, Cy Smith. We had to get into that because it's music. Music is
Yeah.
what's something that I love, and I'm pretty sure you guys do too as well. So thank you guys for that. That is our game. That is called Voices. And I'm pretty sure you guys could go on and on. I could say Olita Adams. I could say Beyonce. I could say Janet. The list goes on and on. These women are incomparable in what they do. Sade is another one. So I grew up listening to Anita Baker, um, Janet Jackson, Phyllis Hyman. Those are that's some of the music that I grew up listening to. So of course Diana Ross. So we can't forget about
Yeah,
Ross.
big fans of Miss
All
Ross.
right. Okay. All right, Fashion Dolls, do we have any questions for myself or Shawn and his lovely wife, Sa Smith? Again, Fast and the Curious is one of my favorite projects. Again, that was in heavy rotation in my playlist while I was getting my hair and makeup done for this interview today. So shout outs to the Glam, Melanie Nalamai Bridges for making sure that we're right each and every episode. So fantastic interview. Thank you so much, Queen. And we got to get the show too, Si. Like, this is great. We got to do this again in the future. So before we close out, Shawn, are there any final thoughts? We're now in 2023. We've officially made it, and I texted my girlfriend. My girlfriend just came in here. Hey, Felicia. I said, I can't believe we made it. She texted me at 12 that night when the ball dropped, when they did the New Year's ball drop and everything. And she said, I can't believe we made it into 2023. I said, I can't believe it either. And me, no sick days. Like, I've been doing this platform Monday through Friday, no sick days, straight back-to-back episodes. And I've been consistent about it. So what advice would you give to people? Thank you. What advice would you give to people going into the new year? It can be you or Si.
Ease. Make it easy on yourself. We have to put in the work, yes. But how you look at putting in the work changes how I think it needs to change, at least for me. I went through phases where I felt like I need to work hard and grind. And if I work all hard, and no, relax with it. So that's my thing for this year is always work.
I'm right there.
I'm going to work, you know what I mean? But the ugly face that you make when you're working so hard, we're not doing that no more. It's going to be easy, because in order to come to you easy, you have to come at it with ease. You know what I mean? You get what you put out there. So put in the work, but don't make it so hard. That way it'll come back to you with ease. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And don't be so hard on yourself. Again, it's that perfectionist mentality. And I brought up Beyonce as one of my favorite divas because her work ethic. She wants everything, every performance, every dance step, everything. And so decide these artists, these divas, these women put so much, as well as yourself, Shawn. Everybody puts so much into their craft. And it's just like, okay, I need to step back and take a breath and just breathe. And I know I'm like that. I was telling my colleague Kate Tukes that earlier today. I said, I'm a perfectionist. I like everything to be perfect. I like everything to run smooth. And that's the true master of artistry, is when you want everything to come out amazing and you get these amazing reviews and so much more. But I don't do it for the reviews. I do it because I love to bring joy to people. And someone said it in the comments. She says, no stress express. Exactly. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be perfect when there's only one person who is perfect. And we know. So yes, stop beating yourself up and just take it easy. So going into the new year of 2023, and you guys do vision boards. But I said that was something that I was going to go into the new year doing, and that is not sweating or putting so much pressure on myself.
I think that's important. I think more people should listen to that. More people should try to bring that into their lives, because the American way is to work hard and to work 50,000 hours a day, and if you do, you can be rich too. That's not necessarily the way you have to do it. I don't think. I think if you approach it with ease, it'll come to you with ease, and you can still get everything that you want without having to break your neck to get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it just takes time for people who want to get into the music business. There are so many programs out here like Unsung, Behind the Music, and what's the other one? I can't remember. Driven is another one. So you guys remember Driven, and I'm pretty sure BET has documentaries and things as well too that you guys can watch if you're looking to get into the music business.
Mhm.
Reach out to some of these artists. I know Jazzy Faye, who's in the Atlanta area, um, always posting new artists. Wanye Morris from Boys to Men has his segment here on Instagram as well too, where he's literally giving people the talent to like Shawn and Side. They have their variety show. There's so many programs and platforms where you can go if you're looking to get into the entertainment business, the music business, and make sure you're in it for the right reasons.
Mhm.
Don't get in this business and become alienated or jaded. And I know a lot of people getting into this business. And I'll give you an example. I always bring up this example all the time. The Vocal Bible, Brandy. Now, when she did her interview with Arsenio Hall, her and her mother, Sonia Norwood, did not want her daughter Sarah getting into the music business. And most parents are like that. They, or they just want you to say, "Oh, you're gonna sing gospel, you're gonna sing for the Lord," and then turn out into something completely different. Then when they see them checks and stuff coming in, the parents start to change their attitude
Mhm.
altogether. Tony Braxton is a great example too, because she started off in the church. A lot of artists started off in the church. But the point that I'm trying to make here is do not become alienated and lose sight of who you are in this business. Because I know I was jumping around a bit, but stay true to who you are. And the reason why I've stayed humble in this business and consistent, and people feel so comfortable with coming to talk to me, is because I've humbled myself along the way. And we get in this business and we think we know it all, and then we don't.
Mhm.
But there's people out here literally who can teach you music. There's people out here who can teach you acting. There's so many people who can teach you whatever you want to
Mhm.
know. As many people as I've interviewed here on this platform, it's almost close to 400 to be exact. But the advice that people have given on every single interview and episode that I've done was to say, remain humble. And if you need a coach, get a coach. And there's actors out here who's literally came on this platform and say, I took an acting class. I have an acting
Mhm.
coach.
Yeah, I think that's important. I have coaches. I have different coaches for different things. You know what I mean? I have dialect coaches. I have comedy coaches. I have drama coaches. Because everybody ain't gonna be perfect at everything, but you need to find the people that you can work with to bring out the best in you. Because a lot of times we look at the material and we do the auditions, but there's other things that we overlooked. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you need the external eye to let you know you think you're doing something, but you're not doing it. You know what I mean? And until you get someone that you feel comfortable with to work with and work in your craft. Like I said, you're always in school. I feel like you're always in school. The school of life is very, very, it you don't stop learning until it's time to leave here, I think. I think you're learning up until your 89th year or however long you stay here. So just be open to learning, be open to the idea that you don't know everything. Even if you're really, really good at what you do, there are still things that you don't know. Just be open to that. You'd be surprised what you can bring to the table.
And receive it. Be open to receive it.
Hmm?
Definitely. All right, fashion dolls. If we don't have any questions, yes, Happy New Year. Give yourself a pat on the back. And that was one of my posts that I made because we made it into 2023. We made it. We officially made it. It's been a rocky, it's been times of uncertainty. We've had the ups and downs. I would have to say it's been an emotional roller coaster for all of us. But we're still here. We made it into the new year.
Yes.
And it's unbelievable. I still to myself can't believe it. And we got a question for you, Shawn, before we conclude. And this is from Liz Menez Music. She's an artist in New York. She says, how do you deal with your doubt and insecurity?
Good question. Is for you. And also practice, practice, practice. The more you
Yes.
practice, the easier it is to get rid of all the outside noise and to just do what you've been practicing. Whether that be on stage, whether that be a self-tape at home, whether that be recording yourself to put yourself out on social media or whatever it is, get yourself a coach. Get yourself someone who you feel confident with will tell you the truth. Do your work with them, work on things with them. That's how you practice. And then when you get back home, practice some more. practice some more. You will have some doubt. You will have some nervousness. That's part of the gig. Everybody has a little bit of that, whether you're, you know, winning Grammys or whether you're just starting to practice, you know, chopsticks. People have insecurity. That's a human thing. It's how you deal with it. And how you deal with it is know what you're doing, you know. The more you practice, you know, I'm sure, you know, basketball players, they do layups, so that when it gets time to go to the game, they can do those things without thinking about them. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say. Practice, practice, practice. Get yourself some sort of meditation practice or prayer practice. You know what I mean? Pray before you do whatever it is that you're going to do, or meditate, whatever the word is for you, and find a coach.
Absolutely. We got another question for you. Shawn, what are your top 3 acting books?
Oh, uh, there's what is it? It's Uta Hagen's Acting, The Craft of Acting by Uta Hagen. She was a big coach back in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Her book is really, really good. Wow. There's The Meisner Technique by Sanford Meisner. That's another really, really good text to read, because people have different techniques in terms of acting. So Sanford Meisner's technique is different than Uta Hagen's technique. And a third one, Susan Batson, who's out of New York. I feel like she was coached to, she's been a coach to stars for years. She's got a great book out there too right now. I can't remember the name of it, but it was sitting over here for a second, but I moved it out of the way. But look up Susan Batson, Batson. She's got another good book too. Yeah, check those out. Uta Hagen, Sanford Meisner, and Susan Batson.
Okay, another one from my girl Liz. She wants to know, do you feel doubt can work towards your growth and keeping you on your toes?
Do I feel doubt can work towards your growth and keeping you on your toes? Yes and no. I feel like it depends on where the doubt is coming from. If the doubt is coming from being unprepared, if you feel like I haven't put enough work in, I'm not going to be able to do it, then that doesn't help you, because you need to get prepared. But if the doubt makes you practice more, then it does work to your benefit. But at some point, you have to figure out, you have to find a way to harness that doubt. What do you do when the doubt shows up? Why are you doubting yourself? Is it because you're insecure today? Is it because you didn't put in the time last night? Is it because you were up later than you should have been? Or you didn't eat the things that you were supposed to eat? Or, you know what I mean? So one of the things about being a really, really good artist is that you have to be really, really in tune with yourself and your instrument. So, you know, eat right, you know, don't drink too much, don't hang out too much. If you got work to do, do the work. You know what I mean? A lot of times, and if things come easily to you as an artist, if you're a fantastic vocalist, you've been singing since you was 2 and you've gone to the church, that doesn't mean you have to stop. You can it doesn't mean you can stop taking care of your body or taking care of your instrument. You know, we're all given gifts. We have to take care of those gifts, or those gifts will be taken away from us. That's just, it works. You know?
And I see a couple familiar faces in here. Shout outs to my girl, Tina Marie, True Meaning of Radiance. We did 2 collaborations back in 2022. And for my scent lovers out there, because you guys know that Style by Stevie is not only just an entertainment platform, it is a beauty platform. So definitely go and check out her channel, subscribe to her channel. For all of my scent junkies out there, you know I am, girl, you looking good. Me, you, and she also put out a single as well too. So make sure you guys go and check it out. Shout outs to my girl Tina Marie, True Meaning of Radiance. She is on YouTube, so head on over and subscribe to her channel right now. Bath and Body Works, we are Bath and Body Works fragrance connoisseurs. So definitely go and check it out. And by the way, Bath and Body Works semi-annual sale goes on all the way until January 16th. So make sure you guys please go and shop and get all of your favorite fragrances, candles, and so much more. They have it. And let me see, because I see some questions are coming in. We got another one. Liz wants to know, what are the words you live by? What are the words you live by?
What are the words Be yourself. It's something that somebody told me years ago when I first started. I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand what that meant. You know, I was 20, 22. What does that mean, be yourself? It wasn't until a few years into it that I was like, okay, when I get jobs, I usually was just being myself because there
Yeah.
are so many. Somebody told me this years ago. You are the expert at being you. Nobody else can do it the way that you're going to do it. So you can go in there, you can go in the room and try to sing it like Whitney, or you can try to act it like Denzel, but you're never going to be Whitney or Denzel because they are being that person. But if somebody goes in there and does it the way that Shawn Carter Peterson does it, nobody else is going to do that. And when you are being yourself 100%, your light comes on. You know, when people say that that spark, that the light shows up in your eyes, people can see it. When you're being genuine, people see genuine, and there's no doubting it. And that the genuineness is what people want to be around. Everybody wants to be genuine. Everybody wants to be real. So many people are putting on faces or masks all the time. When you meet with someone who is just giving you 100% of who they are, everybody wants to be around that. It's magnetic. So when you be yourself, that's when it starts to work. Stop trying to do what you think they want to see and just do it the way that you see it. That's what Lettucey does. That's what Cy Smith does. That's what Layla Hathaway does. They're not trying to be somebody else because being somebody else will never get you really where you want to go.
You named half of the neo soul divas. Your wife, of course, Cy. I would put her in the category with there's Cherokee,
Mm-hmm.
there's Melanie Nona, there's Lettucey, as you said, Kanya Doss, Jill Scott, Erica Badu. Like these ladies make up the medicine of neo Lettucey. They make up the medicine of neo soul music, and they're comparable. And we've got two more questions. All right. Liz wants to know, what do you admire in you? And Miss Rowe, I loves, she says, who would you portray in a biopic?
Who would I portray in a biopic? I would portray Bob Marley.
I could see it.
I would do Bob Marley. Um, yes. There are a couple others, but Bob Marley is the one that's on the forefront of them. I know that they're doing a Bob Marley film now, and that's great. I'm happy for them, and I still am going to get to do my Bob Marley at some point. I did a short about him years ago, so I still have done it, but I want to do more. There's still more that wants to come out. I don't know what that is. Um, Jelly Roll Morton, I want to play piano and do that, and I feel like his story is very, very. He's got a lot of crazy stuff going on in his life, and that'd be fun to do. And what do I love about myself?
What do you admire about you? That's a great question, Liz.
I'm a kind person. I'm a kind person, and I admire that because I know that it's not easy for people to do sometimes. But I've been blessed. I had a wonderful upbringing, and so I haven't been jaded, you know, by a hard life that makes it difficult for me to be nice to people. And so I try to take advantage of that. And I try to go out of my way to be really, really kind to people because I know that not everybody gets that. And not everybody has that luxury to be kind because of whatever other issues they've had to deal with in their life.
Absolutely. 100%. Thank you all for coming in, Fashion Dolls. Are there any last minute thoughts? And let everyone know where they can follow you. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Cy Smith is in the audience as well to his wife. She is a music icon. So please go and check out one of my favorite projects. Again, I keep saying it over and over, Fast and the Curious. She's done a number of them. And the Shawn and Cy Smith variety show. So make sure you guys go and check that out as well also. But let everyone know where they can follow you and check out your project.
You can follow me. I'm at Shawn the Maestro, SHAWN. Shawn the Maestro, that's me on Instagram and on Twitter. Facebook is Shawn Carter Peterson, all one word. And Cy is at Cyberspace. That's SYBERSPACE. You can also check her out, cysmith.com. You can also check me out at ShawnCarterPeterson.com. And all of my stuff is up there. So if you can't, if you can remember my name, Just Google it, and all the socials are there, and the variety show is.
Oh, we got one more question before we go. What comes to mind with these three words? Temperature, steps, and light.
Temperature, steps, and light. Stage. On a stage somewhere. Watch your step, don't trip. Find your light, and it's gonna be hot, but you're gonna have a good time.
All right. Yes, and your wife put it in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, music icon Cy Smith, Cyberspace. This is another one of my favorite projects from her, along with Fast and Curious. And yes, much love to Cy and Shawn. Thank you both for coming here to the Dollhouse, kicking off the season 17 premiere. We've been had this planned during the summer months. We had it planned during the summer months. We're now at a whole new year. So to see it come to fruition was everything. And Cy, we have to get you on the show, girl. Just let me know. Definitely let me know. I would love to have you here. So thank you so much, Shawn and Sai, for coming here. This was a great interview. I had a great time.
Thank you, Stevie, for having me. I appreciate it, and I feel honored to start up your next season. So thank you for having me be the first one out the gate.
Yes. Now, speaking of music, since we talked about music throughout this whole interview, joining me tomorrow, we have singer, songwriter, and model. She says she's down. Well, DM me, girl, and we can set it up. DM me, and we can set that up. All right. Joining me tomorrow, we have Tylen, and we have a life coach here tomorrow as well, too. You know him as Express Words on YouTube. Kevin Brown will be joining me tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in for 2 episodes back to back of Style by Stevie. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Be sure to tune in. And the reminders are up on my page, so you guys can set your reminders so you'll be notified when I go live as well. We have a great lineup this week. Friday, we have Stephen Boyce. He's going to be joining me, multi-award winning artist. And we're going to get into some things, catch up with him for the new year. And we have a great lineup throughout this entire season. So you guys, it's all fresh new faces. So definitely stay tuned. But thank you, Shawn and Cy. Cy, I am going to DM you, girl, so we can set this up. Check your DM. And I love you all. And thank you guys for kicking off the season 17 premiere with your girl. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Stevie. Take care.
You're so welcome. Take care.